Welcome back, everybody. You've either seen the video or you've already heard the story, but there is a new twist in the case of road rage on the streets of New York City. The driver of this SUV chased for blocks before being beaten by a group of bikers in front of his wife and 2-year-old child. Well, now we're learning that there may have been an undercover cop among the motorcyclists, and the question is for our legal panel today. David Wohl, a defense attorney, David Schwartz, also a defense attorney and former prosecutor, joining me. And I'm going to pull a Bill O'Reilly here and call you Wohl and Schwartz.
Good idea.
It's the only way when we have two Davids we can make it work. All right? Guys, welcome.
No problem.
I asked you to take a look at Article 30. It's the New York City Good Samaritan law, because the question is, if an off-duty police officer, or it could be an off-duty doctor, although they're never really off-duty, what are the obligations of someone who may have been innocently riding in that motorcycle group who sees something like this happen? Must they call 911? Must they render aid? Well,
Jamie, you know, as an officer, even off duty, he's got an obligation to call 911, possibly to intervene in a criminal attack. But the fact that he did not do it does not mean he'll be charged with a crime. He may face internal discipline from the police department because of the fact that he's with this gang to begin with. Now, he's undercover, and the issue is, was he undercover investigating this biker gang, or was he just an undercover officer who happened to belong to the gang? My guess is he's just an undercover officer who happened to belong to the gang, because if you were investigating the gang, we wouldn't know about it right now. They keep these guys' identities concealed at all costs, so we wouldn't know that he's investigating the biker gang or even his identity at this point.
all right, Schwartz, this NYPD officer or detective says he didn't want to identify himself because he does undercover work. This we can understand. And when David Wohl says gang, Gloria Allred has even gotten involved in this, because a girlfriend of one of the bikers says they're not a gang, they're a group of great guys. But if you look at this video, and my producers will pull it up, where you actually see what happens to this driver, somebody's going to face charges for this. Should it be someone that was in the crowd that may have either expertise or a license to render aid who doesn't?
Well, here's the issue. First of all, is this a gang? We have to figure out if it's a gang or not. It certainly looks like a very organized effort on the part of the group. However, if it's not a gang and it's just a group of bikers, we have to see who is, who is criminally culpable for this act. And the police officer has to be treated like everybody else in this grouping of people to see what he did affirmatively to cause this to happen. Was the police officer acting in concert? As far as the fact that he's just a police officer, he's not going to be charged criminally for just being a police officer. He may face administrative charges and civil charges, but not criminal charges.
But you're saying no higher duty, Schwartz,
right,
because you're a police officer in this group.
Well, there's a higher duty for a police officer to help, but that's an administrative duty. He can't be held criminally culpable. Also, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled on this in 2005, and they came out in favor of the concept that there is no affirmative duty.
Well, let me ask you about the driver, because whether this happened before that started the melee or it was a result of being blocked in, that driver of the car injured very critically one of the motorcyclists. What kind, and he hasn't been charged.
Jamie,
can you explain that?
Yeah, Jamie, what happened initially was one of the bikers went in front of the SUV and slammed his brakes on. When he did that, Jamie, it's arguably an assault with a deadly weapon. I have a case very similar to that right now, where a car went in front of a driver, slammed his brakes on, and caused a confrontation. At that point, the driver of the SUV is taking evasive action to get out of this melee, and he accidentally, apparently by all accounts, runs over a biker and injures him. Now, at that point, that's when apparently everything exploded, and they drove a little bit further down the road, and he was brutally attacked by one of the bikers who smashed the window in and dragged him out and beat the living daylights out of him. That is the primary culpable character in this whole thing. There's no question about it. He could face attempted murder charges.
Let me just give David Schwartz a chance to quickly, I don't have a lot of time, react. Is David Wohl saying that the car in front can be considered an aggressor even though he's in front because he stopped?
Well, yeah, I don't think we should rush to judgment so fast here. I think we have to look at the acts of the SUV driver. Certainly from that video, we could all sympathize with the horrible situation he was put in with his wife and his 2-year-old baby.
Yeah.
But we really need to look at his conduct, whether he started something, whether he purposefully injured something. Certainly from the video, it does look like an accident. He was just trying to get away, but more investigation is needed.
All right, but David, in this particular case, we won't take sides. We'll leave it to the police to investigate the police action and the action of those motorcyclists. Guys, thanks so much. Great to see you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Kelly?